Hi, what's up? Welcome back to Tabletop Nights. I'm Greg, and today we are taking a look at Brink from IV Studios, the makers of Veiled Fate and a few other things that my game group actually likes. So this is a bit of an overview, not a full rules teach, with my thoughts at the end on whether this game is for you. Now, a lot of people are still receiving this game as we speak. In Australia, we got this quite early. I got the full-in blinged out version, the deluxe version with the neoprene mat and everything. I've got the standard board here today because it's actually a bit easier to view. Some of the text on the neoprene mat it's not hard to read, but it's less easy. So let's have a quick look at the game and then I'll tell you what I think about it. So you place the board in front of you here. This is sort of the starting area. We'll have heaps of resources and more tiles over here to explore. There's some objective cards up here, which each give sort of an instant benefit and then a global benefit to everyone else. Ambassador cards, which is basically a set collection element of the game. In the game, there is a lot of trading. There's some exploring, flipping tiles. There's voting and diplomacy. Now, if you've ever played diplomacy, that's got diplomacy. This, not so sure. On your turn, you'll take one main action, which is placing one of your ships out onto the board. And when you place it, you get the actions that are on there, plus the resources that are on there. You have your own little board down here, which is kind of neat. I must say the storage solution for this game is very good. That's where all the pieces are. You bring them out and stick them on top. Your main ships go in front here so people can see what you are yet to play. These are basically cargo advancements, which allow you to double the amount of resources that a ship can have. These are rail guns, which increase your power by 1. And this is just one of your markers, which says you can upgrade one or the other for each ship. So each ship can only ever hold one upgrade, except for your level 2 ship, which, if you're lucky enough, can hold the fusion drive from these sort of faction cards up here. Every action, as I said, takes place with placing a ship first. You can place a single ship there, receive the resources, do the action. You could actually place it here, grab a new tile from one of the stacks here, and open up new territory. You couldn't place it here because it's sort of not connected to the current world. The double ships basically go in intersections like this. They can never go next to one of these ships because they just wouldn't fit. But you could put it here. And then you would explore one and place it under there. With these 3 ships, for example, I could place it on this intersect here, grab 2 tiles, pick which one I want to put where, and then do that. And then it would sit there. So most of the tiles have colours on them. Some are neutral, some are the United Alliance or something I think it's called. I can't remember, UA. There's also grey neutral ones. They tend to have more resources on them. And the coloured ones provide power for that turn. So in this case, grey is neutral. I have 1 yellow power here, 1 orange power, and 1 green power. Now you will notice these tokens here. They are basically, they do align with the colours on the map and with the objectives and the ambassador cards, which we'll take a look at soon, but they also align with player colours, which I find a bit odd because there's actually no correlation or affiliation or affinity with your player colour, except these are your starting resources. So if you're the orange player, you'll get 2 of these, green will get 2 of these, yellow will get 2 of these, blue will get 2 of these. Purple is a wild resource, so the purple player will get 1 of these because it's a bit stronger. So other than that though, I couldn't sort of see any general affinity with your player colour. So they could have actually been different colours altogether. So I'm not sure why they went down that road. This is set in the universe of Moonrakers, and Moonrakers is an excellent card game with lots of theme and special text that really drives what's going on. It's not an adventure story, but you can feel that space and corporate theme coming through. Not so much with Brink. But more on that in a minute. After you place your ship, you'll gather the resources associated. In this case, there'll be, 3 green, but there's a white border and a dark border. If it's a white border, so in this case a green and an orange, it goes in the front of our tray. I'll just put this up here so you can see it. It goes in this section here. Anything with a black border goes behind your shield. I'm going to remove the shield now so you can sort of see what's going on in that regard. So in front of the shield are items that you need to trade by the end of your turn, otherwise they just go back to the supply. So this is sort of a Catan element, except you're going to lose them. So you can say, oh, who can give me a purple for these 2 resources? And they might do it. The other resources in this case was 3 green and an orange. So if I grab those now, they go behind my screen in the relevant section. You've got this sort of little plastic overlay. This is for your voting, your bids during the voting phase. But they can sort of still go there because even with the screen on, sometimes someone sitting next to you can actually see your pieces. So this kind of obscures them a little bit. So that's what happens with those. Then you can take the actions based on these icons on the card. So this one here is an ambassador action, which means if I have enough power, I can buy an ambassador card. Now power is how many resources you have here, or you can manage to trade for. So let's say I managed to trade these 2 for let's say I want another green. Great, because you could trade green for green if someone's prepared to do it, because they might say, well, you help me later on with your trading and I'll help you now. So now I have 4 green here, but I also have 1 green power here. So I've got a total of 5 green power, which means if I look over here, there's a green card that's worth 5. I could buy that card and add it to my stack. This is essentially a set collection element of the game, but the cards also have abilities that you can use during your turn. So that's always good. So it can be hard to get resources in this game. So trading's important, but if people don't want to trade, like sometimes happens in Catan, you kind of start running out of luck. So this is the set collection element of the game. At the end of the game, each card basically is worth 2 points. But if you have 2 different colors, they're worth 5. And again, each card can only be used in a set once. 3 is worth 10, 4 is worth 18. This can be hard to do, but in the last game I played in a 5-player game, 2 of us were able to get 4 cards. So power is the number of resources you're prepared to spend and or trade for, plus your ship's positions on the board. So right now I have, as I said before, 1 yellow power, 1 orange power and 1 green power, plus whatever I have down here. So that's good for buying things, but you have to spend those to actually buy the card, which means then you have less pieces for voting later on. The same goes with these objective cards up here. The first player to do it will get, say, this warship or the space lattice. I keep calling it lettuce because it's green. They'll get this card, and then as you take this card, it reveals another power that's open to other people. It's less powerful than the one printed on the card. But again, they cost power. These cost 9 power. The purple one costs 7 power. So one at a time, you'll be placing your ships out onto the board. So then it'll be the other player, another player. Now back to me. Okay, I might do this. Comes all the way around back to me, and I might do that. So by the end of my 3 turns, I'll have accumulated a number of resources, and I'll have so much power on the board based on the positions of all of my ships. We'll then come into a voting phase. Basically, the voting phase uses this section of the board where the most votes, which you'll do behind your screen, will achieve 3 points and 2 points in round 1. But it's only the top 2 powers. Anyone under that doesn't get anything. So when you vote, you simply take the pieces. Again, this is done behind your screen. You have to place them on the matching one. If it's a purple, you get add an extra one. And you can vote as much as or as little as you like. And then once everyone's ready, we'd all reveal our little things and do the voting. And then we'd use markers to go, okay, well, green got that many votes, orange got that many votes, yellow got that, and say blue got that. So then we'd only apply the votes, the winning points, to these 2. The others wouldn't get anything. if you vote on the losing ones, you get your resources back. If you vote on the winning ones, you lose them. So we'd go green got 3 points, orange got 2 points. But this is a multiplier of how much power you have on the board. So people will be vying for high power, but making sure they can still win the vote. So that can be tricky. That is an interesting mechanism, which I don't mind at all, except if you've spent a lot of your resources doing the things you want to improve kind of your color or what's predominant out here, you don't then have votes left for the voting section. So that can make it a bit frustrating. So if we go back to the board for a moment, we'll see that over the course of this turn, I would have had an ambassador action where again, I can buy an ambassador card. Here is an upgrade where I could upgrade one of my ships. So I could say, oh, but you have to spend again resources. So I might have spent 2 orange to upgrade my single ship, this one here, with a railgun, giving this ship 1 more power. Later on, you can do, it'll always be one or the other, then sort of neutral, one or the other, neutral, one or the other. If you get it all the way to the top, it's worth 15 points at the end of the game. So you're placing all your ships out. You might do some upgrades. The other one is a rider card. This is you'll start the game with 2 action cards and 1 rider card. So rider cards are used to impact the vote here, and you'll always place a cube here. Now, one thing in the rules, we weren't sure whether that cube had to come from your own supply or from a bulk supply, because you set a certain number of tokens per number of players. So we weren't quite sure about that one. But this one basically means that if I put this here, then I can reduce 1 yellow vote for each action card that I discard during the vote. And again, it's the combat here. This is kind of like a, if I had to compare it, we've sort of got Catan here with the trading. We've got Stonemeyer's expeditions with the exploring. And here we've got the combat of Dune Imperium. So you can sort of go around until you pass, and you can keep playing cards one at a time until everyone's passed, and then you do the voting section and finalize it then. So that's what that feels like. So there are good combinations of different games in here. But as a whole, I'm not sure it works for me. Action cards have lots of different things on them, which you can play. It tells you clearly on the card when they can be played. This one's played at the end of game. This one's during your turn. This one's during the voting phase. And I think there's another one for during scoring. So this definitely feels like those other games I just mentioned, with some set collection thrown in. And I do like the sort of the trading mechanism if people are prepared to trade. I love the components, although I wish all the plastic bits were of a charcoal colour, because it's kind of garish that they stand out now. It would have been better if they were all sort of the same colour as the board. I think that would have made them less obtrusive. The rules are very easy to follow, quite clear, distinct, lots of space, lots of examples. The comic book, Knife's Edge, which comes with the deluxe set, didn't understand at all. But that's okay. The pieces are all painted. This is the deluxe edition, and it has the holographic cards. These were a bit problematic for my game group. If the lighting wasn't great or you were on the wrong angle, it was a little hard to actually tell what colour they are. So do you need the deluxe one? Probably not. But I assume that's not going to go to retail anyway, really. The QB bits, the multi-use of those for voting and trading is good. Being aligned with the player colour, I think they should have been a different colour. I'm not sure why they had to be aligned if it's simply just to give you 2 of that resource at the start of the game. Maybe I've missed that bit. Please, IV Studios, let me know in the comments. And if you've backed this, please let us know what you think about this game. The actions are all pretty straightforward. Ambassador, upgrade, draw cards, draw rider cards. You're placing your ships. You're completing the faction objectives. The exploration I found was a bit so-so, because there was often not an incentive. Once, if a core power colour came up and there were similar resources around, people just kept going back to the same spots. No one actually wanted to expand because they thought, why would I expand and open up places for other people to look at. That felt a bit, and quite often you go, oh, I'm going to use my most powerful ship to do this, and it was a neutral color or something like that. And all you're doing is essentially, you're getting good resources, but you didn't have any power for the upcoming vote. So you always felt a bit hamstrung. I'm not sure. Some of the powers do allow you to move your ship, so ambassador cards help in that regard. But overall, I found that bit a little bit frustrating. I felt like I didn't want to do the exploring because it was only going to help someone else find a more premium spot. Maybe that's just me. I do like the hidden voting. I thought that was pretty good. But again, ultimately, it was a bit unsatisfactory spending my resources on voting because I had to for the power, and then I had nothing to do for the next round except try and build up resources again. So I really felt like I maybe had 1 or 2 powerful rounds and the rest weren't. I was just trying to catch up again. So maybe it was the group, but I mean, my group loves Veiled Fate. They play that a ton. Same studios. This one, if I brought it out again, I don't think they'll play it. They'll go, I'm not sure. Very hard to come across the purple resources, which you need for some of these bits and pieces. There's basically, I think, 1 planet in here that has purple resources. There's 1 up there, and the other ones are all tradable. So any of these Utopian Alliance, that's what it is, not United, Utopian Alliance ones, they'll have purple resources for trading. But it was often just going, yeah, well, I'll trade purple for purple. Maybe we weren't adventurous enough. I'm not sure. Again, all the little card holders and everything are great. But again, if you sleeve things, they're just going to slide out if you put everything in at once. The board I really liked. It's very simple. I kind of like the light graphic that you see on the background here. I wouldn't really call this an exploring game. It's definitely a worker placement game. And the diplomacy, there was no diplomacy other than I'll trade with you if you trade with me later. It was like, maybe you have to be a bit more cutthroat and you're saying, right, well, if you go there, how about you don't go there and I'll give you a resource? So things like that could work, and maybe we need to try it at different player counts. This big metal thing just doesn't want to come out of the tray. It sort of sits where there isn't really a good place to grip it, and it kind of spins as you try to get it out. It's too heavy, so I almost have to tip the box up to get it out, because that part of the board is, that part of the storage solution is welded into the bottom of the box. There are enough actions here to keep you occupied. I don't think the theme really came through. It could have been anything. The fact that it's set in a Moonraker's universe might be a selling point to some people, but it felt like a backward step in terms of theme. So if this came out first and then you had Moonrakers, you'd go, oh yeah, great, built on that. This didn't quite have it for me. So sort of on the yeah meter, it's kind of a meh. It's not meh, it's meh. The gaming group wasn't overly enamored with it. I think I could teach it to people who don't play a lot of board games. They might find this quite interesting, but I think we're sort of moved on to sort of more advanced games, and this felt like it was lacking just a couple of bits of something. I can't tell you what it is because I'm not a game designer, but I played a lot of games and ultimately I felt a bit dissatisfied with the final result. I hope that gives you an idea of how it works and obviously how I felt about it. A lot of places around the world haven't got this yet. Please comment when you do and let me know why I'm wrong. You know, I think this is one I would say I wish I hadn't backed it and spent all that money for a game that didn't really feel that spacey exploration desire that I want, like I might get from Eclipse or Voidfall or what's another one? Even Interstellar. So I think it's obviously aimed at a light to medium gaming group. I think they'll find enough in here and actually they might even feel it's a little bit overwhelming. So that's Brink from Mono V Studios. Please let us know what you think. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell me what you love about it. And if you'd like more content like this, please give us a thumbs up. Maybe hit the notification bell for when more items come out. I'm Greg, this is Tabletop Nights. We'll see you next time. See ya.